Lyrical. What you hear is what you feel. Welcome to Lyrical. I'm Paz, and I'm with my co-host over there, who's called...
I thought I was an illustrious co-host. Your illustrious co-host, Jon, over here.
Yep.
So, hello, guys. Hello, listening millions and viewing.
I don't know if does it count as viewing? I suppose it's viewing online.
YouTube. We could put it on YouTube. Just put a nice still of us online, and then we can
don't know about
upload
that.
the audio to it. No.
Anyway, this show, Lyrical, play on words. It's about taking a song. We're going to go through a random song generator online, see what song pops up. We're going to listen to the song, print off the lyrics, see what we think of the song as well as what we think the lyrics say, as everyone has different ways of looking at how lyrics are. So, yeah, I think should we go straight into it?
So, the first song that we've got on our random song generator, I'm just about to click the button now. Ready? Drum roll. We're doing a drum roll, Paz, on the table.
What song will we get?
It's a banger. It's an absolute banger. It's actually Smokey Robinson and the Miracles song "Shop Around."
Okay.
Let's find out some information on that song first of all before we listen to it. Now, I've actually got Smokey Robinson's greatest hits. I've actually got this song, and it is brilliant. But we'll give you a bit more information about the song here. So, Paz, have you ever heard this song before?
Don't recognise the name, but I'm gonna wait until I hear it.
Okay, I'm just bringing up the Wikipedia page about the song, see when it was released and whatnot. So it was actually released way before either of us were born, 1960, and it was B-side with "Who's Loving You," and it is an absolute classic. I think it was one of his first songs as well. I'm just reading through here. "Shop Around" is a song originally recorded by the Miracles on Motown Records, Tamla subsidiary. It was written by the Miracles lead singer Smokey Robinson and Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. It became a smash hit in 1960 when originally recorded by the Miracles, reaching number one on the Billboard charts. Brilliant.
Yeah, I've heard of Smokey Robinson. I just can't picture. I listen to what the track is until obviously I hear it again. I probably know it.
Whenever I describe Smokey Robinson to people, I say he's got a voice like liquid velvet, like honey liquid velvet, which we're about to find out in a minute. It was the Miracles' first million-selling hit record and the first million-selling hit record for Motown. Blimey. The landmark single was a multiple award winner for the Miracles, having been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2006. Blimey.
Okay.
It is an absolute classic. Yeah, exactly, 1960, but it is a brilliant. So we're now going to listen to the song. Obviously, for copyright reasons, we can't play the whole song, but you might hear a little bit of it at the beginning and a little bit of the end. But here we go. This is Smokey Robinson and "Shop Around."
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
That was "Shop Around" by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. And I think for our first song, Paz, it's a very literal song, wasn't it? There wasn't a lot of deep meaning to it, was there?
Yeah, as we say, we're going to break down the lyrics. It's kind of literal what the lyrics are. Obviously, talking about not settling down just with the first person you see and going around and finding the right one, really.
Words to live by, right there.
Yeah, but it's what people do in general in nature, really. Obviously it's good if you do find your first love and then live that with them forever. That would be ideal, but it doesn't happen like that. I know some people nowadays might see that as a sexist track, maybe, and then you can go on about all these female songs, especially in recent times, like about talking about scrubs and paying their bills and stuff like that for them. That's all right, but how can this not be, especially back in the time as well?
I think it's also the message is kind of said to people who have been heartbroken or something by their first love, because a lot of people that I know who have got together with their first love, it does tend to kind of last. So there's a lot to be said for it. Mind you, my parents they split up and they were like together when they were young. So who knows? There's no right way, there's no wrong way of doing it for any one person, is there? So if we go through the lyrics then, Paz, first rhyming couplet we've got, when I became of age, my mother called me to her side. She said, son, you're growing up now. Pretty soon you'll take a bride.
Yep.
Now, since when has the mother been doing the
the
bees chat?
Yeah, I know, and but you can take it another way, especially back then that maybe he didn't have a father.
Yeah,
I don't know his history, so I can't say. But
1960, wasn't it? So when was Vietnam?
I don't know.
If only we had an information device right to hand that we can check.
We could check, but who cares? Well, I don't mean who cares, but
in our mystical songland, Smokey Robinson's father just died in Vietnam, and his mother's bringing him up single-handedly. Yeah, is that what we're saying?
I mean, it could be they split up. Anything. There's so many reasons, as we know, and. It's
Maybe
that thing.
He was shopping around.
Yeah, and exactly, he might have been shopping around himself, but it's that thing of, especially back then, it was seen that once you get to a certain age, that's when you need to get married, type thing. And obviously, things are different nowadays. But yeah, I mean, if we go through it as well, it's just talking about.
And then she said, "Just you become." God, it's easy for me to say, Smokey. And then she said, just because you've become a young man now, there's still some things that you don't understand now.
Yeah.
Before you ask some girl for her hand now, keep your freedom for as long as you can now. My mama told me you'd better shop around.
Exactly. And, I mean, there's no needing to break it down, really, but... it's also that thing of when you're growing older, even as a child, teenager and stuff like that, you think you know everything, but you really don't. And even when you're an adult, you still have things that you learn. And that's that thing of what she's saying there to me. Yeah,
use my wisdom and experience. Maybe she just didn't like Smokey Robinson's girlfriend at the time. So that was her way of saying, maybe move on to the next one.
Exactly.
And there's some things that I want you to know now, just as sure as the wind's going to blow now. They love a rhyming couplet of now and now and now, and the next line is now, and the one after is now as well.
Yeah.
The women come and the women gonna go now, before you tell them you love them so now.
Yeah, but it's the when it comes to rhyming, they're actually rhyming the word before. That's where it's not a total I can't do a rhyme type thing.
And a lesson to all songwriters out there that as we established when we were introducing this song, it's actually the first Motown song to sell 1 million records. So nowadays you'd get people going, you can't rhyme now and now and now. I would have pastiche and ridiculous song, but 1 million copies. Smokey's there with his hand in the air going, 1 million, son, 1 million.
1 million now.
I can do what I want. I can do what I want. I can rhyme now with now if I want. Moving on, my mama told me you better shop around, so back to the chorus. So the next verse goes, try to get yourself a bargain, son. Don't be sold on the very first one. A pretty girl's come a dime a dozen. Oh dear. And try and find one who's going to give you true loving. Now, as you touched on a minute ago, I don't think they'd get away with that in this kind of cancel culture, would they? This kind of song these days. Although, as you also said, there seems to be different rules for men and women. Women are allowed to get away with denigrating men, aren't they? But we'll
probably get in trouble for saying that as well.
We'll get in trouble for saying that. The first episode and the last of Lyrical. It was a song of its age. I think that's the polite, politically correct way of saying it, isn't it?
I mean, when I say we see songs as we see them, and as men, we relate on what we've experienced as well. And it's the same with the women. I mean, the women have similar experiences, but as a female, but it's the way you have to look at it. I can't give an interpretation of the world as a female because I am a man. That's a way of putting it, isn't it? But as a human being,
we're all the same. I try to find one who's going to give you true loving.
Exactly, and that's what we need.
The next one, pretty girls come a dime a dozen. Try to find one who's going to give you true loving. Now Smokey's mum is encouraging him there to find a woman with loose, liberal...
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take it another way, you could say he's paying for it, but in what way? But I mean...
Smokey's mum just wants a grandchild, doesn't she?
Yeah, she might be getting old. You don't know what age she was at that time. or she just doesn't want to be a grandma. That's
Yeah.
another way of looking at it, telling him just go around.
Yeah, look around. Yeah. Maybe I think actually, looking at the lyrics overall, it's saying that he's too immature to settle down. So
yeah, he's not ready.
She's just saying, whoa, hold your horses there, son. You don't need to get with the very first one. You don't need to get married straight away. You don't need to have kids with the first one. You're not mature enough to be a father yet, son. Just bide your time. Other women will come around. Next verse. Before you take a girl and say I do now, the marriage is coming in. Make sure she's in love with you. Good, sturdy advice there.
Yeah, I mean, if she's not, there's a bit of a problem there.
She should be getting married to him, shouldn't she?
No, exactly.
Poor Smokey. Maybe she thought she could foresee the groupie element, because I think Smokey Robinson was starting to make waves by this stage. So maybe his mum was saying, "Be careful about gold diggers," and people
exactly.
that are not after you because they love you, but because of who you are.
I think the next bit is where it actually changes the whole thing, where she's saying, "Make sure that her love is true now," and then after she says, "I hate to see you feeling sad and blue now." Now that's the thing, that he's probably with someone or has been with someone, and they've really hurt him, and she doesn't want to see that again.
You can do better than I think it's what we said earlier, isn't it? That Smokey's mum doesn't like the women he's with. Right, so then we conclude with the last kind of chorus verse. My mama told me you better shop around. So back to the chorus. Don't let the first one get you. Oh no, because I don't want to see her with you. Oh, there
exactly.
We go. Yeah,
and that's it. And that's what we've been saying. And I mean, you never know. There's these things as well where women get pregnant because they're trying to keep the guy and stuff. Again,
trying to get the Smokey millions.
Trying to get his Smokey money. That's especially the groupies and all that stuff. And it's that thing. It's not. It's life, isn't it? You need to know that you're happy with where you're going with your life, and whether that is with a partner or alone or whatever you're doing in life, you need to be happy. And if something's hurting or making you blue, then you need to work out how you can either improve it or move on from it.
Yeah. Smokey's mum continues, before you let her hold you tight, make sure she's all right. Words to live by right there, Mrs. Robinson. Before you let her take your hand, son, understand, my son. Be a man, my son. I know you can, my son. I love you, but shop around.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So
should we go off and get tattoos of that one?
That's it. At least she loves him. She tells him she loves him, and that's the way to end a song.
That's the way to give any good advice, which isn't going to go down too well, isn't it? Get rid of your girlfriend, Smokey, because I don't like her, but I love you, son.
Exactly.
Ruffle him on the head at the time.
See you later.
Now let's find out if Smokey did in fact follow his mother's advice, and when he got married. So that was in 1960, did we say? Didn't we?
Yeah, I think that was what you said.
So when did Smokey get
1961
married?
It was released.
1961. So Smokey Robinson. There's his career, solo career, blah blah blah. Personal life. Robinson married fellow Miracle member Claudette Rogers in 1959. I reckon he did. I reckon Mrs. Robinson didn't like Mrs.
She didn't
Rogers.
like. Yeah. That seems a bit. Hello.
Yeah. So he was already married by this stage. So maybe, this brings a whole new context to the song. Maybe it's not about Smokey at all.
Yeah. But there's also that thing that he could have wrote the song before the marriage as well.
Yeah. The couple had 2 children, a son, Berry Robinson, what a name, named after Motown's first label founder, Berry Gordy, that makes sense, and a daughter, Tamla Robinson, born 1971, named after the original Tamla label set up by Gordy that would eventually become Motown. Smokey certainly loved Motown. He was like paying his dues to his boss, wasn't he there?
Yeah.
Robinson also has a son named Trey, who was born much later in 1984 with another woman during his marriage to Claudette.
And he was named after the tray in the office.
Here we go. After Robinson admitted to fathering the child with another woman, his wife filed for legal separation, which later became divorce. Oh dear. The divorce was finalised in 1986. The Robinsons also separated in 1974. During that separation, Robinson engaged in extramarital affairs that inspired the song The Agony and the Ecstasy, later featured on his album A Quiet Storm. Robinson married Frances Gladney in May 2002. They own a home in Pittsburgh and use it as a winery. Why they felt they need to tell us that, I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, are they producing the wine?
Yeah, he's got a lot of land. Of course he's going to chuck some trees on there. Robinson has not eaten red meat since 1972. He also practices transcendental meditation. Robinson is notable for having golden green eyes, which he believes were passed down from his French great-grandmother.
It's nice of her.
Yeah, exactly. That was nice of her to do that. Now, I think he's still alive. He is.
Okay.
He's 82 now, and I'm sure it was either last year or the previous Glastonbury before lockdown. I'm sure he was performing at Glastonbury, but how much he can perform at age 82, I'm not too sure. I'm sure the singing will be all right, but just the moving around stage and stuff, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I hope he hears this first show and sends us some of his wine.
You can have the wine. I'll have some of the millions that
Yeah, well, if you want to send some money for the promotion as well, yeah.
You'd have to name your son Smokey though or something, wouldn't you, the way he works.
That's right, Smokey wine.
He scratches your back, you scratch his, yeah. So that was Smokey Robinson song "Shop Around." Should we do another one? As we're only half an hour into our show.
Yeah.
Because of the literal nature of that first song, there wasn't too much analysis.
Do the song generator.
Two's up. So let's randomly generate another song.
What song will we get?
We have got... Oh, it's a classic. I love this song, actually. This will be really interesting to get into. It's Buddy Holly by Weezer. Do you know this song?
Again, I think I need to hear it before.
You will know this one, I'll tell you. It was... the video famously was set in... Like it was in Happy Days with the Fonzie.
Okay.
And all that lot. So they made it all black and white and Fonzie. And it's quite a heavy guitar... But yeah, hey, it's a really good song.
Okay,
it was released in August '94 on David Geffen Records. I can see here, and it got to number 18. Is that all it got to in the Billboard charts in America? A brief summary of the song here on the random song generator. In the early '90s, Rivers Cuomo, that is, who wrote the song and the singer of Weezer, had an awkward girlfriend who was routinely picked on. His efforts to stick up for her inspired Weezer's breakthrough hit, a track whose bubblegum grunge hooks and lines, such as "I look just like Buddy Holly" and "You're my Mary Tyler Moore," helped the band reach a nation of pop-minded suburban punks. It also earned Weezer autographed photos from the real Mary Tyler Moore.
Okay.
Just what every young boy wants.
Yeah.
And we're going to get in trouble for saying that again now. Just what every boy or girl or hermaphrodite might want.
This is point of this whole thing is that we say what we feel and that's it. And understand not everyone has the same opinion or same feelings, but that is what life is about.
The opinions of Jon are not shared necessarily by the opinions of Paz. Is that way?
Yeah.
So you try to distance yourself from.
No. I'm just saying. Let's get into this song. Let's get the lyrics and let's put what we think.
Let's go.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Buddy Holly by the American rock band Weezer, released September 7th, 1994. As we said briefly, the song was written about his girlfriend who was getting bullied at the time. A bit of more background knowledge about the song. The song was written by Rivers Cuomo and released as the second single from the band's debut album, Weezer, the Blue Album, which is quite well thought of by some of my friends. Actually, they love Weezer, and that's one of their favourite albums. The lyrics reference the song 1950s namesake and actress Mary Tyler Moore. Reached number 2 and number 34 on the US modern rock charts. The song reached number 6 in Canada, number 12 in the United Kingdom, number 13 in Iceland, and randomly number 14 in Sweden. Rolling Stone magazine ranked Buddy Holly number 499 in its list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, interestingly, dropping it from 2 spots when they did their previous survey in 2004. So 2 bangers.
2 songs must have gone in, yeah.
In the preceding 6 years, 2 songs came in, I think. It's one thing from a musician point of view. I think the lyrics, again, we've come across another song which is quite literal. The lyrics from what we describe as a song about people picking on his girlfriend and him obviously being supportive of her. So if you were sat down with an acoustic guitar, I don't think you'd come up with some chords and write those lyrics to the song, but it seems to be a song for me. These come up he always had really good guitar tone. So he's obviously come up with that tone, and they've had a jam in their studio, and he's loving the groove and the jam and the sound of his guitar, and he's put lyrics and words to that, the nice tones that he's come up with on his guitar, I think, because personally I don't think anyone would sit down with a guitar and write these lyrics. Not to say that they're not very good, but they are very literal and very "How now, brown cow." They're a bit
simple.
Yeah. So first line, what's with these homies dissing my girl? Why do they got a front? I think that's a subtle dig at people who think they're cool.
The ones who they're just saying, what's up with people? Why are you getting so angry over whatever, and why you've got to pick on people and bully people and those kind of people, shall we say?
He's always been seen as like a Revenge of the Nerds kind of cool guy. So I think his use of the words homies and why do they got a front is a subtle dig at the culture at the time of people trying to act like something that they're not, basically. Yeah,
I mean, when I heard the song, I recognised it. Obviously, I couldn't remember the name and picture it, but I heard it, and the backing track as well. I really like the backing track. And then, as we say, we get into the lyrics. Very, very simple, but so first part is just literally aiming who they're aiming the song at.
Yeah. And then we go on to what did we ever do to those guys that made them so violent? Why are they picking on us, basically? What have we ever done? We're just minding our own business here.
Yeah.
But then Rivers goes on to comfort his girlfriend. You know I'm yours, and I know you're mine, and that's for all time.
And that's it's just again literal. It's like a bridge, isn't it, to the chorus? And it's just saying we're together, no matter what.
And that's a beautiful chorus as well. The actual hook of the song, I look just like Buddy Holly. But obviously he wore glasses. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of Rivers Kume. He wears these big glasses. So obviously they thought they were dissing him by calling him Buddy Holly. And
it's that taking basically what people were saying bad about you and flipping it around.
Yeah.
And
owning it and arming it. Taking away the context. I don't care what you say about us anyway. I don't care about that. It's quite cathartic, isn't it? Actually, do you think that him and his girlfriend are getting bullied and picked on, and then he's turned it into a song which is so massive around the world, and
how much money he would have made from the song as well, that where their words meant nothing while his words have meant something in a sense. They're worth more.
And it's an actual masterpiece in marketing, the video, isn't it?
With the Happy Days.
Happy Days one. I mean, everyone loves Happy Days, and the Fonz and Richie and all the crew in there to be put in the diner. I don't know who came up with that idea, but I'll look through. I'm sure we'll get onto the video in a minute on the Wikipedia page. But yeah, that's a masterpiece in marketing, isn't it? Because everyone remembered that video instantly, and then that catchy chorus just hooked you in. It was a masterpiece from the record company. David Geffen, I can see on here as DGC. Back to the song then, Paz.
Yep.
Second verse. Don't you ever fear, I'm always near. I know that you need help. Your tongue is twisted, your eyes are slit. You need a guardian.
Yeah, and it's just saying, look, you're so upset, but I will always look after you, type of thing.
What's to be upset about? Then they go to the pre-chorus and the chorus again.
Yep.
And then they've got the breakdown, which is the bit I always used to love in the song, because it's got those lovely harmonics on the guitar, sort of a little nod to Smells Like Teen Spirit, that of the harmonics on the guitar. Bang, bang, a knock on the door, another big bang, and you're down on the floor. Oh no, what do we do? Don't look now, but I lost my shoe. I can't run and I can't kick. What's the matter, babe? Are you feeling sick? What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter, you?
Now
What's the matter, babe?
This bit, you could look at it very darkly and say he's actually shot the guy and they've run off from it.
Again, as I touched on at the beginning, that as with him writing the song around the tones of the guitar rather than actually sitting there with an acoustic, that harmonic bit on the guitar, it's really heavy with the little chink chinks, as you would call it. So he's just written a sort of a hooky little melody around the sound of the guitar. Basically, it doesn't really mean too much. I think it's just something for him to add to the catchiness of the song, because that's a really catchy part of the song. And then they go back to the chorus to hit you over the head again with that brilliantly hooky line about Buddy Holly and Mary Tyler Moore, and then he ends with I don't care about that, as the Fonz is dancing in the video, and
then walks off with two girls,
as the Fonz always did. So yeah, it's I really like this song, and it's similar to what we talked about the Smokey Robinson one, Paz, that critics would look at it and go, that doesn't mean anything. That's a load of nonsense. But it's sold billions, and it's a bloody good song. It's catchy as hell, and I love listening to it because of the guitar tones and the beautiful melodies and the harmonies on the chorus. And it's a brilliant sort of, what would you call it? It's not grunge, is it? What do they call it? Bubblegum grunge, isn't there, or something? So it's got the heavy guitars, but it's got those pop elements and the catchiness and the sort of that pop punk, that sort of Green Day. It was like a blend between the Green Day pop punk and the Nirvana sort of grunge bands, wasn't it? It was sort of an in between. Kind of managed to appeal to both kinds of.
Yeah, and it's like as with both songs, they were before our time type thing, and you've still heard them because you've heard them either through your parents or whatever, or wherever you've heard it. Basically, you still know, even though, as I said from the beginning, I admit I couldn't recognise the name, but as soon as it started, I knew what it was.
Yeah, it's a modern classic, isn't it? I mean, everyone knows that song when it comes on, and most people say it's that song with the Happy Days. So here, as we touched on earlier, the video. According to Matt Sharp, Spike Jonze came up with the idea. There you go, the famous director Spike Jonze. Sharp stated that two of his ideas weren't great. When Jonze pitched the idea that came to be the song's video, Sharp told Jonze, "I don't think you'll be able to pull that off." But the band agreed to try. The video was filmed at Charlie Chaplin Studios in Hollywood over a single day and portrays Weezer performing at Arnold's Drive-In in the 1970s television show Happy Days. So it's a wicked video as well, and as I say, Spike Jonze and the band and the record label must have loved it when they saw that video, because it's so easily marketable. On MTV was massive at the time, and you needed to have a decent
and it's a
video
popular show as well at
the time. Here we go. The Buddy Holly video was included on the Windows 95 CD-ROM, resulting in a further skyrocket in its popularity and earning Weezer a place in the history of MTV Music Video Awards. Geffen did not tell Weezer they had negotiated a deal with Microsoft to include the video. The band members, none of whom owned computers, were oblivious to the implications. According to Wilson, "I was furious because at the time I was like, how are they allowed to do this without our permission? Turns out it was one of the greatest things that could have ever happened to us. Can you imagine that happening today?" Yeah, can you imagine every single
computer
having
has your song on it?
Shipped on it, It is a wicked video. The music video was featured in Season 5, Episode 30 of MTV's Beavis and Butthead. There you go.
You know you've made it then.
You know you've made it, yeah. So the Wilson we just referred to there is Patrick Wilson, the drummer. But that would have been a hell of a marketing coup if you could get your... Well, having said that, Paz, U2 tried it, didn't they? When the new versions of the iPhone shipped, they
were doing these adverts and that.
They included the album on the phone.
Did they? I didn't even know that.
They included it, so it's still on my phone. I keep deleting it, but it keeps coming back.
It keeps popping up with the updates.
I was speaking to my colleague Lewis about this the other day, and he said exactly the same thing. That damn album by U2 just keeps popping back up on my... I keep deleting it, it comes back. So yeah, previous versions of whenever that album was out, I think it was called The Age of Innocence, I believe the album's called, and it came shipped. Every new iPhone that you bought came shipped with U2 album.
And now you've upset all those fans of U2.
No, I consider myself one of those fans. I love U2. So I just didn't like that album. I didn't like the fact that they were trying to foist their album on me. I probably would have bought it anyway, but it was the principle of the thing. And again, whoever you speak to about that incident with the Apple fine, they said, I do like you too, but it's the principle of the thing.
Exactly.
Without me asking for it, kind of thing.
It's like having to buy certain products for certain things, and you could certain companies. Should we say? Are we allowed to say that? We can say whatever we want. I think that's the part of the whole thing. But yeah, I don't want to promote those companies, but you probably already know what I'm on about, so it's all right. Don't worry about it.
I don't actually. What are you on about?
I was on about Apple.
Apple.
Having everything has to be Apple.
Yeah, everything. But again, even Apple. There's a big hoo-ha. I remember probably around the turn of the century between the Beatles and Steve Jobs, wasn't there, as to who had copyright control of the word Apple, because for years and years and years, the Beatles record label was called Apple, and there was this big court case, wasn't there, to intellectual property wise, who
it's all about the money, isn't it?
Apple, yeah. So Apple must have won because they still promote their
they're still
products.
using it. Maybe because they put a bite in it. It was we had 3/4 of it.
Yeah, and obviously Michael Jackson bought all of the Beatles back catalogue, didn't he? Famously.
Yep.
Famous story being that Paul McCartney told him, rather than what you want to invest in is back catalogues of bands, and then he went out and bought behind Paul McCartney's back the Beatles back catalogue, and then Paul McCartney tried buying it back off him, and Michael Jackson wouldn't do it.
He put the price up.
Yeah, he wouldn't sell it to him, and then they fell out over it. They used to be friends, but he disowned him after that. There we go, with a bit of Michael Jackson, a bit of Beatles in there.
Yeah, a bit of everything. As I say, it's about the lyrics and what we think about them, but I mean, we can talk about anything. So, yeah, I think is that it for this show?
Do we do a third? Should we do a third? We've been going for, let's have a look now. We've been going for 31 minutes of recording, so we could probably do another one.
Well, just randomly, we're going to get the random song generator again.
Random generator's coming out. So far, what we've learned so far, Paz, is that the lyrics aren't that important to the success of a song, a pop song. Which I kind of knew that already. But
yeah. I say it's the same now, where you can't even hear the lyrics and they still buy the songs because of the beats and whatever else. So
as long as it's catchy.
Yeah.
I was watching an interesting documentary the other day. Rick Beato, have you ever seen his stuff online? He's a music producer, and he was saying the reason that music, in his opinion, is so poor at the moment is because they moved away from the blues. So you can't sit on the guitar and strum one of these modern pop songs. There's no heartbreak and no sort of pain or anything behind a lot of the songs. They're just beats and
just thumping
and stuff like that, and samples and stuff. But I'm just trying to spin that onto these two songs we've listened to today. The Smokey Robinson one, I think that comes under the blues, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's songs famously come under three types, and they love, lost, unrequited love, and love songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Smokey Robinson one could come under the blues, couldn't it? And
it's like how the different genres do blend in, and one's come from another one and then come from another one, and then someone's developed it into something else, and that's how music works, obviously. But and then at the same time, while people are saying, "Oh, this today, it sounds like this and this sounds like that," if you prefer others, then the deeper you search, you can find independent people who are still doing similar type of songs from before, and I say, like, when I do my music, I want lyrics to be the focus rather than what the background's saying in the beat. Obviously the beat's important as well, but I've always said lyrics are important.
I think all good art comes from subcultures, doesn't it? It doesn't really come from the mainstream. I mean, it's like McDonald's, isn't it? McDonald's is the most popular food, not because it's the best food, because it's the most easily accessible and easily palatable. If you've got marketing companies spending millions getting their songs on the radio, you're going to hear them every day when you're in your car or in adverts and stuff, and you're going to think, and it's going to slowly creep into your brain. It's inoffensive and it's kind of catchy, so it's going to get popular, isn't it? And
that's it. It doesn't matter even how poor a song is, if it's played and played and played and played, and then all of a sudden you're walking around and it's in your head. It's in your head. That's it. You can't.
Baby Shark, for example. It's annoying at first, but it just penetrates the psyche, doesn't it? And then the annoyingness of it makes it as popular. Right. Random song generator.
Random
So
song generator. What song will we get?
next up, we have got a song I don't actually know, so I'm looking forward to this one. The first two I knew. It's by the Rolling Stones.
I've heard of them.
I should go on record here as saying I don't actually like the Rolling Stones. I think all their songs sound the same, so it'd be interesting for me to go into it with those preconceptions, to check out this song, which has been highly rated on this
random song generator. It's come up, it's popped up.
It's a classic song. I can see from my screen here that it spent 20 weeks at number one, so in May 1978, so a long time ago, and the song is called Miss You. Not to be confused with the Lisa Loeb version of Miss You.
I'm sure there's a lot of songs called Miss You.
So the do we want to look at the background of the song, or is it going to give away what it's about? Like
I think we
last time?
should
Let's have a
just
look
go
at
straight
afterwards.
into it and
So we'll go straight into it,
see what we think.
and we'll touch base when we've listened to that song.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Miss You by the Rolling Stones. Now, it must have been a quiet week, or quiet 8 weeks, if that went to number one for 8 weeks. It's it hasn't changed my opinion of Rolling Stones. That's probably the polite way of putting it.
It is very simple. Again, another very simple lyrics, to the point that they didn't even know what to write and started oohing and ahhing for most of it.
Of course, there's oohs and ahs. So, before we go into our demolition of it, I think which is going to become, Miss You was written by Mick Jagger, jamming with keyboardist Billy Preston during rehearsals for their March 1977 El Mocambo club gigs. I imagine they're supposedly famous, although who would want to go and see them play, I don't know. Recordings for which appeared on side 3 of their double live album Love You Live. Keith Richards is credited as co-writer, as was the case for all Rolling Stone original tracks written by either partner or in tandem. Jagger and Ronnie Wood insist... I can't talk today. Jagger and Ronnie Wood insist that Miss You wasn't conceived as a disco song, while Richards says Miss You was a damn good disco record. It was calculated to be one. There we go. In any case, what was going on in discotheque did make it into the recording. Charlie Watts said a lot of these songs, like Miss You or Some Girls, were heavily influenced by going to discos at the time. You can hear it in a lot of those 4 to the floor and Philadelphia-style drumming patterns. Well, Paz, you actually said it was similar to one of the first songs we listened to today, the Motown.
The beginning with the guitar and stuff. I mean, that's for me. That's what makes the song is the beat to it. I mean, lyrically, it's just about waiting on a girl. Friends tell him to forget it. Let's mess around. He then says, "Okay, I'll forget you." And then at the end, he says, "Actually, I miss you." And done with a lot of oohing and ahhing in between.
Yeah, well, we should thank our lucky stars, Paz, because the song was originally nearly 9 minutes long, but was edited down to nearly 5 minutes for the album version and to 3.5 minutes for the radio single. We just listened to the radio single. In order to properly edit the radio single without audible bumps and glitches, a separate mix was constructed and edited for continuity. Blah, 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 blah.
Maybe they left the E, I's and U's out, and that was it.
Yeah, here we go. So, Paz, you said it sounded familiar. In 2002, Dr. Dre released a remix of the track, which featured in the 2002 film Austin Powers. Okay,
I might have heard that then. I recognise the guitar from somewhere. I don't know whether I heard the song before or it was sampled, but I think that was the best bit for me, is the actual guitar.
Yeah, so Dr. Dre chose a good bit to sample there. So let's go through the lyrics. I've been holding out so long, I've been sleeping all alone. Lord, I miss you. I've been hanging on the phone, I've been sleeping all alone. I want to kiss you.
He's obviously broken up with this person, and they don't want to see him, and he wants to see them.
Then follows a couple of minutes of ooh 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 oohs, ooh 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 oohs, ooh 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 ooh, repeat to fade, which seems to be the chorus of the song.
Mm-hmm.
So then Mick returns to hit us with this literary brilliance of, well, I've been haunted in my sleep, you've been starring in my dreams. Lord, I miss you, child. I've been waiting in the hall. I've been waiting on your call. The phone rings. It's just some friends of mine that say, hey, what's the matter, man? We're going to come around at 12 with some Puerto Rican girls that just dying to meet you. We're going to bring a case of wine. Hey, let's go mess and fool around, like we used to.
So like with the groupie love.
Yeah, and he's so edgy that because he's just been talking about sleeping with groupies, he's changed his oohs to ahs. And he's such a brilliant lyricist, Paz, that to affect that even more, he kind of phrased it to make it sound like he was having sex when he did his R's. I don't know if you picked that up there, because he's such an edgy lyricist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to hear his sex sounds, but there you go.
He then goes on, everybody waits so long. Oh, baby, why did you wait so long? Won't you come on, come on? He's basically saying you can have a bit of the groupie loving too if you come on over. He's been walking in Central Park. singing after dark. People think I'm crazy, stumbling on my feet, shuffling through the street,
Sounds drunk to me.
asking people, what's the matter with you, boy? Sometimes I want to say to myself, sometimes I say.
Well, I mean, if we want to make this sound even deeper, we could say he was love drunk.
Certainly drunk on something. It wasn't good music, was it? Okay, then he goes back to oohs for a couple of minutes. Repeat to fade. Third, and thank God, final verse. I guess I'm lying to myself. It's just you and no one else. Lord, I won't miss you, child. You've just been blotting out my mind, fooling on my time. No, I won't miss you, baby. Yeah, Lord, I miss you, child. And then he mixes in his with Lord, I miss you, child. There we go.
I mean, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but it just did. We could give him a little bit of credit and say maybe it's someone that passed on.
So is it the first ever Ouija board?
His first love or something? No, but in the sense of he wants them to call, he wants them to be there, but they're not there. They're still on his mind. He can't think of anyone else. And then at the end he says, right, I've forgotten about you, and then they've popped back in his mind again. I don't know if I'm giving him too much credit for that, but that's just popped into my head.
I think you are. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page here, and it seems to be insinuating that it was just a groove that they come up with as a jam, and then Mick put some lyrics over the top.
And then he just Ardenooed over it.
Ardenooed to put out some kind of a disco track. They're obviously inspired by the drum beats and stuff at the time.
Okay.
I wasn't particularly struck with his singing on that track, and I don't think I've ever been struck by any of his singing on any track that he's ever done, to be honest, if I can go
and
that far.
putting on the voice.
He's got a great range, and he was kind of putting on these stupid voices and accents and stuff. And I've written down on my sheet, attitude over ability. I think that would sum up Mick Jagger for me. I'm sure certain people
you hear from his
who
lawyers.
like him, will be shouting at their phones and their devices saying, you need to listen to this track and that track. But so far, I've got to the grand old age in my life, and the only song of theirs I like is Paint It Black, and a song which they famously wrote as a joke song. They thought it sounded like something else, and they didn't think it would be any good, and they put it out, and it was probably one of their biggest hits, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So the hook of the song is oohs and ahs. The lyrics aren't overly deep, and again, a third and final song that we've done today, which just shows you that the lyrics aren't actually that important to have a smash pop hit, because this one was number one for 8 weeks. What have you taken from this song and the other songs today, Paz?
Well, as you say, it's that thing of the first thing that people are looking for are the rhythms, the catchy guitars and hooks, and even like today, that seems to be what it's more about, more hearing the beat, a catchy hook. And if you ask someone when they say they like the song, what are the verses, they don't know the verses because they don't take that in as much, which is it's sad in a way, because you think if someone's making a song that it actually means something, but when it's, I don't know whether to say, is it just to say like lyrically poor, it kind of, for me, it takes away from the song.
Yeah, it does. It's just something to sing a melody to, isn't it? To get the groove and that drum beat going. Obviously, that disco was prevalent at the time, and everyone was getting into that and starting to dance and stuff. So I guess artists were just putting out content that they could get out into the clubs, and obviously kids were going out dancing, and then they were buying the records that they heard out at the clubs, weren't they? So it's a massive thing. So I
suppose when you're drunk and stuff, you don't really pay much attention to it unless it's a sing-along type ballad. And then everyone sings.
No, but again, I guess we could, like the Weezer track, we could give credit to them and their record label for putting out a track which took advantage of the marketing by, standing on the shoulder of giants, or the disco scene that was going on at the time.
Yeah, and mixing it with TV.
Trying to make themselves look, feel relevant and whatnot. But I'm not the greatest fan of Rolling Stones, because I don't think they stretch any bounds artistically. I think they do play it too
But-
safe too often, which this is a perfect song in point. But fair play to them. They're obviously
They still made the money,
multi-millionaires,
yeah.
and I'm not.
They don't
so-
care about our opinions, but
No.
that's
They
again
bloody
what
well
this is
should
all
do.
about.
They bloody well should do.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, this is what it's all about, and we never know what's going to pop up on the random song generator, and it's going to be songs we don't like as well as what we like, and others that we haven't heard before.
And if we do get sued, those were the opinions of Paz, and I wanted nothing to do with it. He was prompting me to say all of those things. It's not stuff that I came up with off my own back.
Freedom of like words,
Freedom
and,
of expression,
and expression,
freedom of opinion.
and opinion. We
Yeah.
all have a voice, and this is our voice.
It's almost like the computer was mocking me by choosing a Rolling Stones song. I was actually thinking of doing a series of podcasts as well, which you might be interested in joining me on, Paz,
Mhm.
where it's kind of like Mythbusters, so popular bands where I look at them and say, I don't get it. And then,
Okay.
and then we get a fan of that band on, and they try
and convince us. Yeah,
to
yeah.
say,
Why not? Why not? Pitching ideas on another show. It's all right.
yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, so and Rolling Stones is one of the bands on my list. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Coldplay, I don't get it.
It's
Muse, I don't get Muse.
yeah.
either.
The only thing I can see about that is that it's going to be very difficult to change the opinion of the person who's a super fan. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But can they convince us?
Yeah,
Is
it's
the
their job to
is the
convince
whole,
us.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
turn us around by not. I guess it comes down to the hits. I don't think they'll use the hits to sway us with it. It's quite a lot.
It's the songs that maybe we haven't heard.
Yeah.
Because as we said, there's songs that we haven't heard, maybe from popular bands or maybe before they even were famous, that made them famous in the end or get the record deal in the beginning.
Yeah.
As I said, I take song. I don't look at who's doing the song. I look at the song itself, and that's the.
I think a lot of it comes
Yeah.
down to the word authentic, Paz. A lot of those bands
Yeah.
I just mentioned there, I don't think they're authentic.
Yeah.
Coldplay, Rolling Stones, Muse, I think they're talented musicians who just put out content which they hope or think will be popular at the time. They kind of mould their sound to try and be
it's
popular.
it's also
I
the
don't
people
think they're
above them,
authentic.
people above them in the record labels that are telling them what to put out, what it's got to be about, stuff like that, because it's the in thing or what's going to be the fashion. And
Kasabian, we can add that to the list. I've never heard a Kasabian song. But they get a groove going and it just continues for the whole song. It doesn't go anywhere and
Yeah.
doesn't do anything. I don't understand the popularity of Kasabian.
oh,
but
look out for that show when it starts.
yeah, look out for the Kasabian slamming show. So we've actually covered over and above our remit today. We've done 3 songs: Smokey
Yeah.
Robinson, Shop Around, Buddy Holly by Weezer, and the classic track Miss You by the Rolling Stones, which my life has been bereft of for not having that in my life until today. So have you got anything that you want to say?
No, I'm saying
Before we close off
all
today.
I want to say is I'm looking forward to doing more shows, and I'm hoping that you do too.
I
basically.
thought you were going to say that. I was hoping that there'll be more Rolling Stones songs, which will wind you up by getting.
But I don't mind. As I say, I don't mind doing the Paint It Black if that comes up, because I like the tune. But
yeah,
let's anyway. We never know.
we never know.
You
yeah.
never know. The next
what will
3
it
songs
next
could be
time,
all
is it?
Rolling Stones.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, my dreams will be fulfilled at one if there's 3 Rolling Stones songs next time.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time today, Paz. And
thank you for you, John, and also the listeners
Yeah,
that listen.
Hope you agree with some of what we said today. If not some, all of it. If not all of it should be the other way around, really. If not all of it, some of it.
Whatever your opinion, feel free to share it with us, even if you do not like what we are saying.
There are no rights or wrongs. So
No.
feel free to comment, and we'll maybe look at some of the comments. Maybe there's bits we've got wrong or misunderstood. And if you disagree with us, we'd love to hear from you, and you might be able to change our mind as to what we've discussed on those songs. 2 of the 3 I liked, which is not bad. Come around for this.
It's a good number out of.
Yeah, and
I mean, you don't have to like everything.
I mean, the oohs and ahs were catching up on the Rolling Stones, and you can see why it went to number 1. But
even without the U's and R's, if you take it as in take the lyrics off, that's the bit you're going to know anyway with the guitar,
yeah,
technically. Anyway, I think we've
We've
delved deep
delved
into
deep
that.
enough into that one. Yeah, every week we'll come back and see if we've rechanged our opinion on "Miss You" by Rolling Stones. So, if you'd like to close down the show, then who have we been? What's the name of the show?
Okay, I'm Paz. This is John. This was Lyrical Iracle, and we will speak to you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Cue end credits.
Lyrical Iracle.